I'm a sunflower.
Welcome to Spider Stream, the stream with spiders in it.
That I don't think arachnophobes have to worry. I don't think it's a big deal in this particular thing. We've already limited our audience to the people who have seen the Miles Morales movie in the last 4 days or whatever. So we need to
5 days. It came out on the 2nd.
Wow, that is super long.
Hey Pete,
Yeah, this is
headed
why
your
I
way.
didn't switch it to the Twitch yet.
Beep up. Yeah, in fact, I want the audio to be like super like minimal because this is mainly about.
There's subtitles
Mainly
in case
about
you want to follow along.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Hey Duncan, what is this stream?
So this stream is a little bit weird. It's a little different. Technically, we're going to be playing some Spider-Man Miles Morales,
Maybe we'll make this an actual playthrough someday.
but because it was definitely on the list at some point. But you just kind of like stopped playing it for a while. But really, the main
It's called being bad at it.
yeah, that there is that. So that really the main goal here is that we're going to be talking a little bit about a movie we saw recently, as well as a movie we saw also recently, but also like a long. We're talking about the Spider-Verse series thus far.
You could have just opened with that.
Yeah, it's funnier when you're confused and bumbling through your words. Yeah, so basically we just thought, we recently rewatched Spider-Verse 1 in preparation for Spider-Verse 2, and then we just last night went and saw Spider-Verse 2. Was it last night?
It was
The night before?
night before.
The night before. 2 nights ago we watched Spider-Verse 2. And we thought, we'd talk about, a little bit of about the feelings on the movies in general. But particularly, we want to talk about, like, I don't know.
The fact that Spider-Verse is kind of confusing if you think about it for too long.
Quirky aspects of the Spider-Verse. I guess I don't know where you want to start. Should we do like briefly? That's a good game.
Should we unpack how we got here now through this game? Because we noticed that the Miles Morales game is in canon in universe, but also it's its own universe in universe.
Yeah, they had some. I should probably also say, if it's not apparent by the title of the stream that you clicked on, it's a full spoiler review. It's not like we're not necessarily gonna go like over every last plot detail, but we're definitely gonna mention things that are plot essential, and we're not gonna hold back because that makes discussion really hard and annoying, and I don't feel like doing it. Also, I think spoiler culture is a scam anyway. So, anyway,
What?
it's lame. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. I think it's just a way of artificially preserving the emotional impact of seeing a thing for the first time, and it's just like if a story isn't good the second time you see it, or if a story isn't good, knowing what happens at the end, and the story isn't worth experiencing twice, and that makes it a bad story.
Okay, fair enough.
So anyway, that's my basic sentiment on the whole idea, and we can move on. Hello Ryan.
And Wick,
I don't. Yeah,
because
exactly.
you typoed in your title, and I told you about it, and you didn't fix it.
I can fix it. You can fix it after the fact.
Right?
John Wick.
White.
While done.
Ryan, have you seen the new hit Spider-Verse movie?
Yeah, we're here to talk about the exploitive voice.
In fact, if you have seen the Spider-Verse movie, we can go on the Discord. You can join this conversation if you're home.
Indeed. So how do we didn't really talk about like the format of like exactly how we want to break this down. Do we really just want to go like just like stream of consciousness, like whatever we
I
think
was
about,
ready to just blabber for 2 hours.
or do we want to like briefly like go over like what's going on or in the Spider-Verse, or talk about or do like a mini review of the films?
Miguel O'Hara tries to kill a child for half an hour and no one stops him. That's it. That's the movie.
I don't know if it's fair to say that he tries to kill him. He definitely tries to subdue him. I don't know if murder was the intent. He does like explicitly like try to let. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that he tries to kill him. We do have issues.
I don't
with
know.
Miguel O'Hara.
The scene on the train seemed pretty murdery to me.
Miguel O'Hara is a very interesting. Okay, well, Ryan's not going to be a part of it, but thanks for popping in anyway. So Miguel O'Hara is a very interesting character, and I think we can probably get into him later. So, like, I guess really like what we're here to do is to talk about like various like quirks of the world building in Spider-Verse that don't particularly make sense when you get
I'm gonna die
down
in a tutorial fight, and that's embarrassing.
That's okay. We're not here for gameplay. We're here for podcasting.
Yeah. Well, I hear spoilers knowing I'll forget quickly enough. Ain't that a mood?
So like the world of Spider-Verse is pretty weird. First of all, I will say Spider-Verse 1 and 2, excellent films.
Yes.
Really good movies.
At
one,
worst, 9 out of 10.
One, I think, better than the second in terms
Yes.
of like story structure. 2 definitely blows it out of the water in terms of like animation and like visual stuff. But the story in 2 is a little bit quirkier, for sure. I think that things start to get a little bit loose and weird with number 2, but still overall pretty great movie.
Yeah, and I feel
Highly
like 3
recommend.
will tie it up very nicely.
Indeed. Yeah, it better. That's a whole other thing.
There's so many webs, but Tish.
Yeah, so, Spider-Verse 1, as we know, hit 2018 animated film.
Came out on Christmas.
Yeah. Was it Christmas?
Yeah.
I guess.
In theaters Christmas, said it on the poster.
Yeah, I guess we did see it, but just kind of late. Oh, and also it's cold here. How about that?
Ah!
I guess you're trying to
I fucked
chase
it
the
up.
rhino or some shit.
I fucked it up.
Great movie, features hit characters, Miles Morales, the new Spider-Man, who initially not super well received character
But
the
he sure is
comic world,
now.
but thanks in a not small part to Spider-Verse 1, now generally pretty well liked.
Yeah. Ow.
I don't even know how to format this. Is like I'm still debating between like like going into
Okay. Record scratch.
a review or like getting us like the story thus far.
All right. Let's do a little like recap and review. We'll start with a mini recap and review, and then we'll record scratch. I bet you're wondering how I got here.
Exactly. So basically, the story is that we got Miles Morales. He's just a dude living in Brooklyn. He gets bit by a radioactive spider. Oh my god.
No, and for like 2 days, he's been the one and only Spider-Man.
Indeed. And save those humans.
Baby!
Especially the baby.
Miles, that's irresponsible.
Thank you. And it gives spider powers. Turns out that spider from another universe. That's important. So he gets spider powers. It's great.
Kingpin has a super collider.
Yes, he wants to bring back. I guess
His wife and son.
His wife and son got killed in a car accident.
What the fuck?
Partially because of his own fault. And he wants to bring him back using from the multiverse.
Yes.
This has the unfortunate effect of, unraveling the fabric of reality, which, not great.
And no less than 5 different spider people are brought in because the original Dimensions Spider-Man got tangled up in it.
Yeah, he
something
got
pun web.
Yeah, he got he got a swirly in the extra
Swirly in the super collider.
Yeah, the super collider goo. And so we got other versions of Spider people. We got Gwen Stacy, Spider Woman, Spider Girl,
Spider Woman.
Spider Woman, Spider Gwen.
Yeah, this is Spider Woman.
And we got Nicolas Cage, Spider-Man.
You got Peter B. You got John Mulaney.
You got John Mulaney.
And an anime.
And an anime character. Some of these characters are more important than others.
Well, I find it very funny that you listed Nicolas Cage before fucking Jake Johnson.
Yeah, well, listen, you.
Anyway.
And basically they got to team up to stop Kingpin from
Blowing up New York.
firing off the super collider again. Blowing up probably everything, really.
So, they do that in typical superhero origin story fashion. Miles' uncle dies, his dad does not this time.
His uncle is the Prowler, as it turns out. Spooky villain man. Definitely murdered a lot of people up until this point, but thankfully does not murder. But definitely does not murder Miles, which is good. Very PogChamp. Dies though. Very sad.
R.I.P.
Rip. Yeah, and then basically they go in and they save the day by thwarting the super collider. And Miles proves himself to be an adequate Spider-Man? Spider-Man.
I'm
Super
sure
Spider-Man.
that'll last for a long time. So then the sequel happened.
So then the sequel happens, right?
Oh, I was just trying to beat up the police officers. That's a pretty...
That's a big no-no for Spider-Man. Like, absolute last resort, only if you are desperately, in danger. So yeah, the sequel happens. It's about a year and a half later. We get a little glimpse of alternate universe where Gwen Stacy is all like, "Man, I really miss Miles. He was a pretty cool guy and didn't afraid of anything."
And then one of the coolest pieces of animation I've ever seen shows up casually.
Yeah. So we get the Vulture, but it's not the Vulture that would be appropriate for her dimension.
It's like Renaissance Vulture.
It's like he's like done up in the style of like an old Renaissance
Da Vinci Code
painting, Da Vinci Code nut business. He's real quirky looking, and that's the point in the movie where you're like, oh yeah, okay, the animation is gonna go ultra ham. And this
Spider ham.
What are you doing exactly?
Help!
Help! I gained the ability to fly.
Yeah, Spider-Man's notorious ability to fly.
The spider kite. I want to fly my spider kite. Anyway, so that kind of gives you the idea of like, oh, okay, the multiverse is still quirky.
Yeah.
It's not like other multiverses. It's quirky.
And getting the aid of Miguel O'Hara and Spider-MILF. That's not her name.
Also, no, anyway, Miguel O'Hara, also known as Spider-Man 2099, because that's who that character is.
Yeah, and then Jess, other Spider-Woman.
Spider-Mother.
Spider-Mother.
I was trying to figure out if spider queens or like spider parents had like a particular name. I don't think they do.
No.
They don't have like ant colony business.
No, or bees. Anyway. So and
they show up and turns out they have like this like alternate dimension traveling
society.
Well, they specifically have this like device.
Yeah.
That allows them to like travel through the multiverse while also not getting out, because that was a big thing in the previous movie. Like when you go to another universe that you don't belong in, you get all glitchy and like eventually you die. But they have this device that sort of stabilizes that effect and allows them to travel safely. And so they have this whole like spider society led by
Miguel
O'Hara. Unfortunately, like between Miguel O'Hara and Spider-Man 2099, he doesn't really have like a nice it's a little bit of clunky.
Miguel O'Hara's a fun name to say.
Yeah, it's alright. It's just a lot of syllables.
Bam.
Yeah, he can't just be like Miles.
Miles Morales. Peter Parker.
Anyway. He's the leader.
Ow.
And he basically there's a whole scene where Gwen Stacy's that's a
confrontation with her dad.
Oh, that's a whole thing that we kind of skipped over. So it turns out that in her universe, Gwen Stacy's universe, Peter Parker was basically like the lizard of his universe, where he drank some goo, and he turned into a big mindless reptilian lizard creature. Went on a rampage. Gwen Stacy stopped him, but accidentally went a little too ham,
Owie.
and he ended up dying. That was very sad, and that's kind of her backstory. And also her
I've died.
father. Nah, you're fine. Look, see, you're chill.
Father's like, I'm gonna get that Spider
Yeah,
Woman.
yeah. Witnessed.
I'm gonna get
witnessed
pictures of Spider Woman.
Incorrectly assumed, because of unfortunate timing, that she was responsible. Super not the case. Oh, now you're dead. Nice knees. Take a knee. So he's got this whole thing out for Spider-Woman.
Yeah. It's like, surprise, it's your daughter.
And, does a really not pog thing for a parent to do, and decides to just go ahead and arrest her anyway.
Meet her Miranda rights.
But she decides, I've officially kind of run out of, like, reasons to live in this universe. So she just goes to the other Spider Society with Miguel and the lady.
Yes. Also, for the record, Gwen's universe is so fucking pretty.
I sometimes think it's a little bit much. I do have some issues with the way it's stylized at times, and I'll go into that more later. But, I would say overall, 9 times out of 10, the visuals in this movie are off the charts.
Well, apparently, according to the developers, it's like people who worked on the movie, Gwen's universe was basically supposed to have like a mood ring effect, and I think that conveyed well.
I think sometimes it was a little confusing, because like there would be times like within the same scene with the same emotional like tone, like they would just like switch, like cut from like one color to another, and like they'd be like unrelated colors.
Someone's never been a teenage girl before.
Despite the fact that tone has not changed at all, and it's like there were just moments where it felt like style for style's sake and not actually like necessarily contributing to the scene. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it felt like to me, and I don't think that's not the only example of that. There are times where it just gets a little bit out of hand for me, in my taste.
Hey, I did it.
So yeah, then we cut back to hanging out with Miles.
And we're introduced to the Spot.
Yes, we get to meet the Spot.
That bagel really hit the spot, Duncan.
Yeah. So
God help.
in the first movie, during like an escape sequence, the spider folks threw a bagel at some random scientist. Turns out that random scientist is the main villain of this film and the sequel. We'll get into that in a second. He, after the collider blowed up at the end of the movie, he got infused with
void.
He became infused with portal technology. And at first, he's kind of a goofball, kind of a bumbling loser. He barely knows how his powers work. He's not particularly threatening.
I've never done a robbery before.
He has an extremely funny failed robbery attempt that Miles barely manages to thwart. Because the thing about him is that he's really hard to capture, but he doesn't know how to do anything. So it's this awkward like balance of like he's very powerful. He just has no idea how to be powerful yet. So anyway, he kind of deals with that. For the time being.
Parental tension. Man's gonna be grounded till college.
And where does it go from there? Like,
Gwen Stacy shows up.
And they kind of hang out for a little bit. It's kind of this awkward
tension with Miles' parents.
Yeah, we have this weird. It's a difficult thing with Miles and Gwen because like she's not really like she's here to investigate unrelated anomalies, so she can't really like hang out.
She's here to investigate the Spot.
She's checking out the Spot because the Spot he's causing a ruckus.
But she also just wants to hang out with her friend that she hasn't seen in like a year and a half.
And also thought that she might never be able to see again because traveling dimensions is, well, at least in theory, it's difficult.
And also, other thing.
What other thing?
The Miguel O'Hara thing.
Oh yeah, there's that. Oh right, yeah, we'll get into
I have
that.
so
also.
many words.
There's a lot to unpack there. We'll definitely need to talk about that more. Anyway, I guess nothing really happens particularly
Go see
until
my guy Paviter, who only got 10 minutes of screen time.
I guess nothing major really happens plot-wise until Miles decides to follow
Be a hero.
Gwen through her portal that she made to presumably follow her, but also like figure out what the hell
Is going on.
She's up to. And so yeah, then we travel to Mumbattan, which is the I for a while I didn't understand what that meant.
It's Mumbai and Manhattan.
Yeah, I know now. I get it now. I was like, for a while I was like, I don't get it. This just sounds like weird stuff. So it's the world of Spider-Man India.
I love him. I love him so much.
He's a very fun character.
Let him do more things.
Unfortunately, the cast is just so bloated that like, even in a 2-hour movie, like you just don't have time. You don't have time.
We also introduced the Spider-Punk, who is also very, very good.
Spider-Punk as well, who's kind of like, you know, he's anti-establishment, but he's also like anti-everything. Like he has he really has like no core values other than just personal freedom to like the unequivocal extreme.
I love him.
To the point where he has basically like no, like the whole joke is that he has like no real like foundation.
No consistency.
He's just against everything that is remotely like, you know, routine or regimental or authoritarian.
Also,
it's very good.
Also, I gotta say, when they first introduced Spider-Punk into the movie, I just had this like feeling of deep, intense dread of just like, oh no, it's one of those. But he wasn't one of those. Just like a really annoying, like rebellious character.
Yeah. No, he's.
But he's so fun.
I would go as far as to say that he is a parody of a rebellious character.
And
like the whole joke is that he's making fun of how rebellious characters are written, and that's the fun part.
And like he's such a bro to Miles.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
good.
He's a nice guy. Spider-Man India, very fun, very quirky guy. Doesn't really have a whole lot of dialogue, but he's there anyway.
I cherish him for all he's worth.
And we find out that, like,
hey, look, it's Genki.
Yeah. Hey, buddy. What up, bro? You need to get more screen time in movie 3, buddy.
Yeah, literally, we were in the theater. Genki existed, had dialogue, and Doug was like, "Oh, look, he has dialogue this time," and then he never showed up again.
Yeah. He had like 2 scenes. It was fine. It was like 2 halves of one scene, really.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a setup and a payoff type of thing.
Punchline.
It was funny. But, anyway, getting back on track. So we find out that, like, you know, these 2 guys, along with Gwen Stacy and such, are working in Mumbattan because that's where the spot is. They're all part of the Spider Society. They're all members of the agency or whatever. And Miles is kind of like, hey, you know, this sounds pretty cool. I kind of want to do that.
And they're all like, cringe.
They're all kind of like, oh, yeah, I don't know about, man, I don't know. And we don't really know what that's about. Because, like, the whole, like, running gag for a while is that it's kind of like, huh, you know, I've kind of been doing this for a year and a half. I'm like, I get that I'm not, like, perfect, but I'm relatively good at my job. And these guys, I mean, some of them, I don't know, they seem...
Well, it's also like Spider-Man India has only been doing it for 6 months, right?
Yeah, it's like, they seem kind of like, almost like a joke, right? Like, it's like, you could, you know, like, why don't... If these guys...
Car.
If these guys can be spider people, then why can't I, you know? And that's the implication. Oh, God.
Are you dying?
Anyway, we don't really follow up on that too much because then the Spot shows up, and we find out that the Spot's whole plan is that he realizes that he can travel between multiverses using his spots, between universes rather, within the multiverse through his spots, and that his power grows every time he sucks up like goo from the super colliders, and because multiverse, there's colliders in a number of different universes.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
So he wants to go and suck up as many as possible to make himself maximum power. because he's mad at Miles because he thinks he's a joke.
Yeah.
And also because Miles is like indirectly responsible for
broke it.
making him. Andrew, please.
I just want to look at my achievements.
It's fine, Andrew. It's fine.
It's
We're
not
We're
fine.
here for We're not here for achievements. What was I gonna say? Anyway, so he gets there. They try to stop him. They can't. Unfortunately, they fail. He sucks up the goo, and he is starting to get pretty scary at this point. He's getting real strong.
But there's crisis in Mumbai.
Yes.
Broken bridge.
Yes. There's a whole scene. It's a very Spider-Man-esque scene where Spider-Man India is the only one at the scene, and he has to choose between saving his dad and his...
Not his dad, his girlfriend's
Or, sorry,
dad.
his girlfriend's dad, rather, and his girlfriend herself. Doesn't have the ability to do both, really. He tries, but he's definitely losing his grip. And that's when
Miles is like,
Whoa! Hey, we can do something about this. And Gwen's like, no, it's chill. Don't worry about it. But then he doesn't do that because Miles is a hero and he wants to help people.
He's a good person.
And
what a loser.
And so he helps save the day. Everyone comes out alive, and it's great.
And then there's a hole.
And then there's a hole in the universe, which is definitely
it's a metaphor for capitalism.
That's not our joke. That's from the movie. Spider-Punk says
Watch the movie.
And we're kind of like, why is there a hole in the universe? That's kind of weird.
And then they bring Miles to fucking Rick and Morty.
Yeah, we meet the council of
spiders.
The council of spiders,
including Spider-Bite, who is very cool.
Indeed.
And they're just like, and we also meet Miguel O'Hara, who sure is a character.
Who is like the most lampshaded like villain. I guess you would call him the secondary antagonist of this film in movie terms. Is like the most lampshaded like villain ever. Like he's just like this dark, brooding, like sinister Spider-Man. He has no sense of humor.
Bye, Snowman.
And you know, like he even has like the evil, slow descending like platform
with an empanada, which is then thrown to the floor immediately.
And so, yeah, I guess by this point we find out that Miguel O'Hara, as we said earlier, he's the leader of this Spider Society. He sends out agents to go, deal with like multiverse threatening anomalies. Oh. Wow, just destroy that scaffolding for no reason, huh?
Owie.
You're gonna get your ass kicked by holograms, bro.
Listen, we can't all be good at video games, all right?
And so yeah, that's his job. That's what he does, and he does this because he replaced
himself.
He did a WandaVision. You don't know what that means, but
I don't.
So in the MC, so this is basically like what happens in Multiverse of Madness, the second Doctor Strange movie. This is exactly Wanda Maximoff's plan. She basically wants to replace her alternate universe self in a universe where she has children. And
that it's the exact same thing.
And it's pretty much the same plot, actually. Like, it's literally the same thing of like, oh, I'm just gonna replace myself and it'll be fine. Oh, actually, it'll destroy the universe.
So Miguel O'Hara does a Rick and Morty.
Except it goes bad. And because of him doing multiverse shenanigans, it like somehow deletes his universe, except for him.
Which is
weird.
Suspect.
Which is weird because it's really not consistent with. There's some really weird inconsistencies.
We'll
with
talk about
the
it. Don't worry.
Rules. But anyway, for now, that's what happens. That's the rules. If you fuck around with another universe, if you deviate from like the
you die in the universe, you die for real.
You deviate from like the quote unquote intended path of the universe deletes itself. That's just the rules.
I died.
You actually got beat up by crash dummy holograms. Mythbusters wins again, I guess. Anyway, So that's supposed to be the explanation for what was going on in Spider-Man India's universe.
Good old
That
Mumbai.
that everything's all falling apart.
Because not Gwen Stacy's dad
because
didn't
there
die.
Are because there are certain like what they call canon events. Where like certain things just have to happen because
your
the
Uncle
universe
Ben
says
dies. A police captain close to you dies. It's usually Gwen Stacy's dad.
But sometimes it's not, and the whole idea and it's sort of like the suggestion is that Miles' dad, who was a police officer, was going to get promoted to captain.
So he's like, oh god,
he's gonna die. So Miles obviously wants to do something about that, but Miguel says no.
No.
That's not how that works.
You're already breaking shit. Stop it.
Stop it. Get help.
Oh, also this is where the plot point about Miles' spider being from another dimension comes up.
Right, that actually comes out just after this. But anyway, the whole idea is that it's like, so they finds out. So Miles puts together like, okay, his dad.
I got
is the captain.
shot this time. It's better.
His dad, the captain, is gonna die.
Universe deletes itself as a what if episode. God, I wish.
Exactly. And so he wants to stop that from happening, obviously, because it's his dad and he loves him and all that. You know how you do with
Dad,
parents.
I love you.
Oh, you got him that time, Andrea.
Yeah.
Good job. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
But they have to stop him because otherwise the entire universe will die. After a big old fight chase scene,
oh no!
it gets eventually revealed that one of the main reason why Miguel seems to like kind of resent Miles and doesn't want him on the Spider Society team.
He accidentally stole another universe's radioactive spider.
Yeah, basically the Spot in an experiment brought a spider from
Dimension 42.
Dimension 42 to Miles' universe, and that's the spider that bites him at the beginning of Spider-Verse 1. And because he's, indirectly, unintentionally took another Spider-Man's powers, that universe doesn't have a Spider-Man.
And accidentally killed his Spider-Man through the same event. Whoops.
Yeah, and so basically that universe it just blows. It's full of crime and horribleness.
It's just on fire.
It sucks. And so he's considered like the quote-unquote original anomaly. He fucked everything up, and him just existing is inherently like
a problem.
A problem.
Oh, not Duncan. Ryan has given us a Wikipedia page about Doctor Strange.
Neat. I'll probably look into that at some point. We got more things to talk about.
Hey, Doctor Strange is referenced in the movie.
Yeah, it is funny that the Sony Pictures film associated with Marvel has a better keeps better track of the Marvel universe, the MCU continuity than the MCU does. But whatever, that's a whole aside that requires people that know about the MCU to talk about.
And it's not me, so we're not gonna talk about it.
Anyway. Yeah, level 3 Spider-Man.
Woo!
So yeah, I guess Miles makes his grand escape, makes it back to his, makes it back into a machine.
Go home machine.
Yeah, they got a machine that sends you back to your, scans your DNA and sends you back to your universe.
Surprise! It scanned the spider.
Well, I think what the implication is that it's that the spider like mutated his DNA so that his DNA registers as being Universe 42, not Universe whatever his is.
Numbers.
1610? 1610, yeah, that's right.
Hey, I'm a nerd.
So he gets sent home to the wrong universe with no way of getting out of it.
But his uncle's alive. That's cool.
And except it's not.
His uncle's alive, but his dad's dead, and also he's the Prowler now. Miles is the Prowler.
Yes,
there's all the reveals in the last half hour of the movie.
Yeah, his universes, so the other universes, Miles turns into the Prowler, which is kind of weird. Like it's kind of implied that like Aaron is like his buddy, like his right hand.
Well, I assume
weird
it's
that they would arrange it that way.
I'd assume it was like Aaron was the mentor for the Prowling,
I mean, maybe the implication is that like Aaron is kind of like his right hand like muscle, whereas like Miles is he's like the super genius, so he builds all like the tech for the Prowler, maybe.
Someone also pointed out that in in the start of the movie when the Spot's talking about his backstory and the scene where you see Spider 42 get zapped out, the spider is actually like about to bite that universe's Miles before he gets yoinked.
Oh no.
So, like I said, it's something. I feel like it's a movie we gotta like rewatch soon-ish while it's still freshish in our head.
Yeah, definitely need to. It's definitely the thing. I definitely get the impression that it's the movie that you'll get a lot out of rewatching.
But anyway, so also Gwen just gets yeeted back to her dimension because
Yeah,
she's literally
yeah.
done nothing but cause problems on purpose.
Yeah, basically, she gets kicked out of the Spider Society because she's been too like I don't know.
Too much of a viability.
Yeah, she's a bit of a fuck up, and also she's super sympathetic to Miles, which is obviously problematic for Miguel. So she gets kicked out, sent back to her home. Luckily, this gives her an opportunity to reconcile with her dad.
And it's very sweet.
It's very nice.
Don't do that.
Sorry, that was an accident. Basically, he because he doesn't he thinks it's not the police job. It ain't worth it to lose his daughter, so he quits. And that's supposed to be like a moment of like, hey, maybe the captain doesn't have to die in every universe. Maybe there's like okay ways to get around this.
Oh my god, it's the Prowler!
Oh my god.
Also,
Wow.
so I also have words about this whole canon event nonsense.
Do we want to finish up? Because we're pretty much there. We're pretty much at the end of the movie.
So Gwen goes through all the other dimensions with a watch
she-
given to her by Hobie Spider-Punk.
Yeah, Spider-Punk, who left the society.
Yeah, he just quit.
He literally just like, I'm out. Peace. He builds like a sort of a bootleg dimension watch.
Which looks very cool.
Which does not have, because like, they all have like communication networks.
Yeah.
Like you can track who is in what dimension through
That's
it,
a plot point.
which matters. So like he makes one that's like his own thing. It doesn't have the tracker in it, so she can kind of just travel wherever.
So she goes.
So
and
she
gets-
goes and recruits all of like the Miles sympathetic Spider-Men, including
We get Peter B.
We get Spider-Punk. We get Peter B. Parker from the first movie. We get Spider-Man India,
Nicolas Cage.
Anime, Spider-Ham, anime with new robot.
Anime with new robot, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's more canon accurate. It's more Evangelion now." That's worse. I don't like this one as much.
That's sad. But anyway, he put
Whoops.
the Spider-Man Avengers is assembled, and that's the end of the movie. Which kind of like is like, what the fuck? Holy shit! Like we did not anticipate this being like a two-parter.
Apparently, it was actually advertised as such. We just missed the memo.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, we didn't see any promotional materials for this movie at all.
I saw the Spider-Man India character trailer.
That was it.
Also, just as a personal anecdote from our theater experience, we sat there.
We are definitely not the only people who were surprised by that.
So the to be continue pops up. There's a beat of silence, and in a quiet-ass theater, all you hear is, "What?"
Just an audible from, like, the middle of the theater. So somebody goes, "What?"
Anyway, so now that we spent half the stream summarizing the plot of the second movie, I have words about canon events.
Yeah, let's talk about canon events, because this is probably, like plot, like, I would say that, like character-wise, Miguel O'Hara is probably the weakest character, and we can talk about him. Plot-wise, definitely the canon events need to be talked about the most,
Okay,
because
hold
they
on.
are weird.
Quick aside with Miguel O'Hara. So I've been on TikTok, and because TikTok noticed that I've been liking a lot of Spider-Verse content, and my boyfriend's been sending me a lot of Spider-Verse content, it's been like, here you go, champ. So that's all it's been.
Yep.
Can the internet please pick a more interesting man to thirst over right now? People are so down bad for Miguel O'Hara, and it's like really?
Okay, he's physically attractive, but, like, that's as deep as it gets.
Punching a 15-year-old is not hot. You know who is hot in Spider-Verse?
I would say that Miguel O'Hara is about as attractive as, like, what's her face from the Sun and Moon?
Oh,
games?
Lusamine?
Yeah, it's like
That's a very good comparison,
it's like,
actually.
It's like, well, this is a physically attractive person who is awful.
You know who is attractive in Spider-Verse?
A lot of people.
Peter B.
Yeah, we got that. Dad bod Spider-Man.
Canon Dilf.
Canon Dill.
Hey, speaking of canon Dilf, canon events. So here's my question, right?
Okay.
When Peter B and Miles have their like bro moment, Peter B
Moment.
says very explicitly that he had his daughter Mayday. Which, first of all, let's talk about the fact that Mayday is a few months old, but it's only been a year and a half. Hello.
Well, that checks out.
And
I mean,
as
like,
appropriate,
if
I
it's
was
been-
shot immediately.
Well, I mean, that checks out. Like, it's been 16 months, about a year and a half. You know.
How
it takes
quick did they make that baby after a bad term divorce?
pretty quickly, I assume. I mean, I think the implication is pretty strongly in the realm of it was definitely a Peter thing, not a Mary Jane thing. Like, once he changed for the better, like,
Yeah.
I feel like that relationship got on track pretty quickly.
I know, it's just funny to me. But Mayday is actually the thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
Because it's like, you're the reason I had this kid, which means, implicitly, Mayday would not exist if the whole situation with the super collider didn't happen. So is Mayday a fucking canon anomaly?
It does kind of make you go like, It's like that could be just something they didn't think about, or it could be like, you know,
A
further.
plot point that canon doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like it's either an intentional bit of trivia, like sometimes things can deviate from the intended path, and it's
it's
okay, or it's something I didn't think about, and that's a problem because there's a few instances of like, is this intentional or is this just kind of a goof? Because it's not always super clear. Like even like Miguel O'Hara, right? Like, disliking Miles is kind of like a thing where it's like, does he just dislike him irrationally because he is like an anomaly and he just hates anomalies?
That's racist.
Is this intentionally irrational, or does he just genuinely not recognize that like, is it super not Miles's fault that he get bit by a spider accidentally from another universe? Like you would think because like the whole Spider Society is founded upon like the principle of thousands of people who are coping with and helping other people cope with terrible events that aren't their fault and doing something good about it. Like that's what Spider-Man's all about. So it makes you wonder like, why is this particular thing so like
Oops.
up Miguel's ass? It's like it's just more of the same shit. Like it's
Well,
more...
what I wonder, right, is when Miguel's universe fucking exploded, is that just because it had, like, someone from that, like, who was not supposed to be in that dimension for, like, so long? Because, like, you gotta figure, he's been there a while, right? He was there long enough to completely usurp his dead self.
It's like, I'm kind of curious as to how that even happened. Like, surely, like, there's a body, like, in his universe with his name on it, literally. So, like, how did he replace himself and also cover up the fact that he died? Because you don't just...
opposite of faking your death.
Because you don't just... Yeah, because, like, faking your death is hard. Faking your not death is way harder. It's like, oh yeah, I was in a coma, but then I was fine, actually, believe it or not.
What do you mean you saw me bleeding out?
I don't know. It's weird. And then it's also like... So, like... And I'm kind of curious because like when they have like the canon event anomaly happening in Boombatten, it's like I guess it's supposed to be like, oh, that's caused by the spot maybe, or maybe it's not. Maybe that's just the universe unraveling. It's not super clear which one it is, but they also have like this whole like tactical procedure in place to deal with this kind of thing. Like immediately as soon as it starts happening, like certain, specially equipped Spider-Man descend and start using weird gadgets on the absorption blob, and they start like
Using it on
doing
capitalism.
trying to like do a thing to like, contain the event, which I didn't know they could do that. Like if they can do that and it's like consistent, like maybe it's not that big of a deal.
Also, to reiterate, as evidenced by the ending scene, one was able to find Peter again, right? So like, he's fine.
Yeah, like his universe still exists. So it's like you have to think like, okay, so if they can fix this thing, they have a really consistent procedure for fixing it, then I guess it's fine. Like it's not that big of a deal. but like maybe it's not consistent, or maybe it wasn't even caused by a canon event anomaly. Maybe like they're not like
Girl,
real.
help.
We're not we're not super clear exactly on the details of how canon events work,
We've got 5 viewers listening
we're
to us
not-
ramble about nothing.
and we're not entirely sure if that's intentional or not. What was there was one particular instance I was trying to think about that I wanted to talk about. I've lost my train of thought on it.
Let's see. Oh, Jesus! I just got here.
Fuck. Find something to talk about while I think. You dead again already. Incredible.
I'm so good at video games. Also, so here's a distinct possibility, right? With
Right.
the case of Mumadin and it blowing up.
Right.
What if it's like a strike system, like 3 strikes you blow up sort of thing, right? Because he says he's been Spider-Man for 3 months, and he goes on and on and on about how being Spider-Man is like so easy, right?
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder if he's experienced tragedy yet. Is his Uncle Ben dead? Did he somehow circumvent the death of his Uncle Ben? Did he already fuck it up by himself and no one told him?
Well, I think that's I think the implication where the one rule that's relatively consistent with the canon of the canon event anomalies is that it's like, generally speaking, they don't seem to be able to happen unless some kind of trans-dimensional event occurs. But not necessarily a direct result of it, but there has to be some kind of abnormality for those to happen. Like Spider-Man, like Miles is not considered an anomaly until a spider from another universe bites him. Gwen Stacy's not considered an anomaly until she travels to another universe and, you know, distances herself from her father for like a year and a half.
A few months.
Or a few months, or whatever it is. You know, like, in Spider-Man India doesn't have one until, you know, the Spot travels to his universe and starts causing a ruckus. So as far as I can tell, everything that happens in your universe before you get bombarded from another universe is canon.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the implication is just that because he's still relatively new to the job, that like things have just kind of been chill so far, and then he hasn't had his like, you know, major canon like character moments, and that was supposed to be like his first like major obstacle in his universe, was losing either his girlfriend or his dad, or her dad rather.
Mm-hmm.
And stopping that is what caused the event, as far as I can tell. Right. So the other thing I wanted to talk about that kind of confuses me too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, so Miles Morales he's described as like the original anomaly
Yes.
because he got bit by a spider from another universe.
Yes.
But like, so like the multiverse is kind of a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so big of a deal that surely there can't just be one Miles Morales that got bit by another universe's spider, right? Like, if there's an infinite number of like universes, then surely there must be like trillions of Miles Moraleses that similarly were bitten by spiders from another universe. So, with that in mind, there's only 2 things to consider as potential explanations for how this universe works. Either there is an infinite number of universes, and that event is just so insanely unlikely to happen that it only happened once, or there's a very finite number of universes, and there's only certain iterations of events that can possibly play out, and that just happens to be one of them. What do you think about that?
Sorry, one more time?
So, like, if the multiverse is infinite,
Yeah.
and there are an infinite number of universes, then that means there's an infinite number of, or at the very least an indefinite number of instances in which different versions of our Miles Morales got bit by other spiders from other universes.
Right.
So, like, there's nothing particularly... So, in which case, there would be nothing particularly special about our particular Miles Morales.
Right.
So he's not a particularly exceptional, like, you're the one that fucked everything up by existing, you clown. Because there'd be, like, trillions of him.
Yeah.
So, either he's totally overblowing the fact that this one particular Miles, and hyper focusing on one out of several trillion versions of him, or it's like, that event is so unlikely to happen that there really is only one out of a virtually infinite number of possibilities, which would be weird. Like, just mathematically, that'd be weird.
Right.
Or it's a much more finite multiverse where there's only maybe I don't know, several million or several 100,000 iterations, and that just happens to be one of them.
Well, I feel like that combination 2 and 3 is most likely, because again, I'm gonna apply Rick and Morty logic. Can you tell I watch so many things with interdimensional travel? Because basically one of the big twists in Rick and Morty is that Rick and Morty exists in a world where only the universes where Rick is the most powerful man on Earth have been isolated into one strip, right? So maybe it's that logic of we are just isolating all of the universes in which Spider-Man is a real-ass dude with a real-ass thing, and there was a real-ass radioactive spider, right? Is that anything?
That could be a thing, Their particular multiverse is centered around the existence of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because it does seem to be...
Hey, so what do you think the odds are that we get to level 13 before the end of the stream?
Because there is an interesting implication of they do offhandedly mention Doctor Strange one time as a joke reference to the MCU, but for the most part, it does seem to suggest that Spider-Man is more or less the only superhero in most of the universes in which he exists.
Ah!
The fact that Spider-Man doesn't exist automatically makes all of New York City fall to fucking shit in Universe 42. There is clearly no one else doing his job of comparable power or influence. It's even to the point of there are no superheroes. They even pretty much state that.
But there's supposed to be one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like the traditional Marvel universe, right? Where there's hundreds of superheroes. 50% of which all live in New York City. You got no Spider-Man, you got nothing.
So can I bring up my bone that I have to pick with this?
Go ahead.
Multiversity, and this also coincides with the mentioned an hour ago record scratch. Let me tell you how I'm here right now. So, in one of the opening scenes of Across the Spider-Verse, Miles' roommate Genki is seen playing hit PS4 game Spider-Man Miles Morales. I hate this camera. Why am I stuck like this?
So I guess this is the part where we talk about weird, world-building quirks that don't make any sense.
So... Sorry, distract my fucking wrist. So this means that the Spider-Man PS4 games exist in universe, except as pointed out by Duncan, this Miles Morales is also canon in the universes of the Spider-Verse movies. Yep. So first of all, this means we can accept that this game is canon.
So this game is canon. But it also can't be the same game, verbatim, because obviously it can't be about a person named
Miles Morales,
because obviously his real identity is not known. It's presumed...
It's about Greg Jones, Spider-Man 2.
It is presumed, obviously, that he is, African-American, Hispanic, multiracial youth... and they can go off of that, I guess, make up their own ideas of what that character would look like.
Yeah.
But this person doesn't exist. But everything else is the same, presumably. We even see his 3D his model just hanging out in the little Spider-Verse society, which is really funny. So the video game character, the video game exists within the universe, but also the video game character exists as his own Spider-Man.
Yes.
Outside of the multiverse.
Also, so in Miles' home universe.
But that also means that Peter Parker exists because they got a video game about him in there.
Wait, hold on. No, shut up for a second. So So we established last night because we were joking about this, but it's like Peter Parker exists in this universe, which means that people who made this game were like, yeah, it'll be like we don't know what Spider-Man looks like because he keeps his identity pretty close to chest, so we'll make it up. He's a teenager, even though we demonstrably have proof that he super is not. But
Yeah,
also,
it makes you wonder, like, did the video game come out like after Peter Parker died? Because
Yeah.
they could like, if it was after his death, then they would at least be able to say like, okay, well, it's Peter Parker. Like, we know what Peter Parker looks like in our universe. That's who that is.
Yeah.
And he just has some other Spider-Man hanging out with him. We don't know who he is. But like, if the game was made before, and if you know anything about how video games are made, it would have to be made before because 16 months is a very short turnaround time for a video game.
Well, what I'm
So is it kind of like, did they make up both of these Spider-Man characters?
what I was gonna ask is if this game is effectively the same, except it's not Miles Morales, it's random mixed race teen. So why is Peter Parker still alive in the game? Wouldn't that be seen as kind of like a weird choice?
Yeah, it'd be like making a video game about Betty White or something in our world. It'd be like, that's kind of weird. Don't do that. That's kind of weird. Or yeah, it's like the Stanley comic book simulator. It's like,
Also,
I don't know about that one, Chief.
Also, so Stanley, the guy, exists in Miles' universe as just a guy, but also there's the True Tales of Spider-Man comics, which is implied to be at least semi-autobiographical, even though they don't know what Spider-Man looks like, so they just made a fucking nerd loser character to be Spider-Man.
Who just coincidentally happen to share a lot of physical resemblances to the real Spider-Man that didn't know anything about.
No, he looks like exactly like Gwen Stacy's Spider-Man, or not Spider-Man, but like Gwen Stacy's Peter Parker. Also, can I say, Across the Spider-Verse, big improvement over the first movie. I'm glad the Peter Parkers aren't all just fucking palette swaps again, because that started getting really weird. Because you're telling me that 26-year-old Spider-Man has the exact same face and hair as 38-year-old jank Spider-Man, who also happens to look like Gwen Stacy's fucking, like, 15, 16-year-old best friend.
Yeah.
Who also looks like Spider-Man Noir, whose age is indeterminate.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's the spider powers. It keeps his physique eternally youthful.
Is it youthful? Because let me tell you, that sure does not work for, I reiterate, Gwen Stacy's, like, 15, 16-year-old friend.
Well, you know, reasons. So what else? So it's like, it's kind of confusing. But there's also the thing that I pointed out of it's kind of weird that like
I got pee.
You know that the True Stories of Spider-Man is like a comic book that Miles reads,
or at the very least his roommate reads. One of them reads it.
Which is kind of weird, but it's also like done up in the style of like the OG like 1960s Spider-Man comics.
When they could have been written in 2008 at the earliest.
Yeah, but that's weird because like and that's weird because like it's very much in like the 1960s art style, which comic books were very much done in a particular style in that era, and like if you looked at like 2000s comic book like that, they look very distinct from you know the 60s comics. And like I guess you could argue that maybe they went for like an intentional sort of like retro feel for it. That doesn't explain how like the like 1960s and 70s Spider-Man cartoon is canon to that universe, because that's definitely not a stylistic choice.
Also, that Spider-Man is also an extra dimensional entity.
Yeah, he's also a thing.
The popsicle is also its own entity. People point out you can see the popsicle in the background of some shots. Who is the Prowler? Why did they just fucking tape it to the back?
So like yeah, they went with like a really weird comic book style that was made in 2008 at the earliest, because that's the earliest time that people could have had like an awareness of Spider-Man, because that's when that universe of Spider-Man came into existence. So they had this really like weird anachronistic world building for Spider-Man,
Which is fine. I love anachronism. It's fun. Unless it's like really like, unless it's just enough wrong that it's just like ugh.
Yeah, so we have like these weird like we have these weird like meta references that are very cute for us, human beings sitting on the couch watching the movie.
Yeah.
But like when you start to think about how they apply to like the universe that they're supposedly a part of, you start to go, "Huh, wait a minute. Does that make any sense?" Um, what else? Is there anything else we could talk about?
I mean, probably.
Any other weird world building things or story things that don't make any sense or that we want to talk about? Or thoughts on the movie in general?
I mean, Penny being based on Evangelion still pisses me off, because I don't like the idea that such, like, a fun and bubbly girl had such a fucking dramatic turnaround in, like, just over a year. It bugs the shit out of me. Because, like, to me, hi, this is me injecting my character bias. I find characters that are happier to be just better. I find miserable pieces of shit to be the worst, unless it's, like, played for parody, like Spider-Man Noir.
I mean, it's definitely a personal preference. It's definitely a bias. There's definitely no way you can be like, "Well, this is obviously superior." Like, it's like, yeah,
I know. I
preference.
just don't like it. Cause also,
I mean, unfortunately that's just kind of the rub when it comes to Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man has a pretty, like, sad story. Like, there's a lot of emotion in his stories because he's a character that he struggles. Oh boy, it's got a stretchy model looking.
Hey, you know who's great? Peter B. Parker.
He's great. We love him.
No, literally though. Okay. Hi. So there's another TikTok I saw this morning, and it's taught me that apparently there are guys out there who are looking up to Miguel O'Hara as, like, peak masculinity. Which, first of all, that is one of the biggest red flags a man can give me.
I'm sure that. Do you think they're into, like, Andrew Tate and shit too?
Oh God, probably.
Anyway.
And, like, some people have been like losing it. It's just like, bro, I can't believe they robbed Peter B of his masculinity in the new movie. And it's like, bro, what are you on about? Is it because he's a loving dad? Because you know what?
Everyone knows that everyone knows that the family unit is cringe.
Fellas, is it girly to love your daughter?
Pretty fucking gay, bro.
I am standing on the fact that Lord and Miller, when they were writing Peter B, they knew exactly what their target audience was for his character, and that target audience was people with daddy issues. And you know what? They got me hook, line, and sinker. Also, Peter Porker doesn't make sense.
In what regard?
Okay, so there's a deleted scene that mentions Peter Parker also does have a dead uncle. And it mentions that he was burned and, a quote, smelled so good. Which they cut that out because that was a bit too much for the scene.
Was that did they write that, or was that like a John Mulaney?
I don't know.
Because I know he did bits. Like he kind of went a little. I was about to say he went ham. Fuck. He went.
Do it.
He went a little ham when it came to hey, look, ham, Peter Parker.
Oh my God, no.
He's canon to this universe.
But that's the thing, though. Peter Parker isn't a pig. He's a spider that was bitten by a radioactive pig. That's the canon. That's why his nostrils blink, because they're eyes.
Gross. Oh God, can you imagine what he looks like under the suit?
I don't wanna.
It's like a pig-shaped spider.
Ugh. Hey, also, so you know, the little bit with Lego Spider-Man?
Yeah?
Do you know about the person who animated that?
No.
That is a 14-year-old who did, like, a fan stop-motion on YouTube, and then they scouted him out and were like, hey, you want to just do a little bit for a movie? And I think that's very charming and fun.
Nice. Yeah, they get a little bit of Lego Spider-Man in here, sort of go back to their Lego animation bits.
And
Oh, that's fun.
I feel like part of me just kind of wants Lego Spider-Man to be more important in the third one, but also,
Unfortunately, there is a problem of in universe they are treated as like actual Lego-sized creatures.
well, that's the thing.
So
I want a Spider-Man this size to just go around trying to help get down Miles because he's on Team Miguel.
Little 2-inch tall Spider-Man just hanging out. It'd be like Ant-Man and Spider-Man at the same time.
Yeah.
The only Spider-Man who's actually the size of a spider.
Except it goes on Lego Movie Logic where he's literally just a guy. So it's just like you look down, you see a little Lego Spider-Man, and it's just like gotta move.
He doesn't function outside of his universe because he has to follow their physics, and Legos don't move in their universe. Although that does bring me to another joke that is like kind of weird and like I don't know if it makes any sense. So in the first movie, Spider-Man makes a comment about like do animals talk in this universe?
Because I don't want to freak him out.
Like, does that joke make sense? Like, if it's normal in his universe for animals to talk, would he even think to ask that question?
Maybe this isn't Spider-Ham's first foray into interdimensional travel.
Maybe
he was the anomaly.
He was the anomaly, and actually he has destroyed several universes by just existing. What a guy.
Also, okay, so canon events.
Canon events.
So Miles' Spider-Man is dead. Miles' Spider-Man is not supposed to be dead because the only reason he died was because Miles got bit by the spider that wasn't supposed to be there. So, like, Miles' universe is fucking fine, also.
That's true. Both universes are technically fine. Like, Spider-Man, like, Universe 42 is a shithole, but it's...
Existing.
It exists. Like, it hasn't been, like, deleted. And so does... And Spider-Man's... And Miles Morales' universe has existed. It's been a year and a half. He's still fine. And we know that it can't... Like, if an event on the scale of what happened to Miguel O'Hara happens all the time, it doesn't take that long. Because... Yeah. You know, like, his daughter did not get significantly older in the time it took for his universe to get destroyed. So that's either, like, a quirk, or that's supposed to tell you, like, it doesn't take long.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't know if it's a feature or a bug, but it's definitely one.
Also, do you think the reason Miguel O'Hara seems to dislike Peter B so much is that Peter B basically has everything he wanted and more? And is not traumatized for it.
And is also getting away with it because his universe hasn't been destroyed yet.
Yeah!
Oh god, can you imagine this game was played first person?
I would throw up.
Everyone would. That's how brains work. Oh,
sorry, I gotta swipe left.
So it does kind of make you wonder, like, how
exactly,
like, are canon events like are they real?
Maybe it depends on the universe.
Because, like... It definitely happened to Miguel O'Hara. We can't deny that it didn't happen because it happened in a very inexplicable way.
But also there's so many other things that could surround the circumstances of Miguel O'Hara. Like, as mentioned, he was in a dimension he did not belong in for probably too long. Because we've only seen spiders be in the wrong place for at most 24 hours. And I feel like he was probably there for a long... Hey,
okay, hold on. But there's also the fact of, like, normally when you spend too much time in another universe, you get all glitchy and then you die. Like, that's usually the stakes, is you die, universe is fine.
Hey,
so, like, why was he fine, but then his universe got destroyed?
What if the Miguel O'Hara... What if he's assuming the identity of the Miguel O'Hara... What if it was an interdimensional one, came into his universe and died, and that was what happened with his universe? It just collapsed in on itself because an extra dimensional being just died there, and the universe didn't know how to handle it.
Are we implying that that's what would happen? I'll cry. Are we implying that that's what would happen if the other spider people died in Miles' universe? That their corpses would just delete the universe?
Just make another hole.
Just make a hole? Punch... yeah, I don't know. I don't think we have any evidence to suggest that at all.
No, but I'm just throwing things out there that maybe make more sense.
Well, that's the problem, right? We can't say that it makes sense if we don't have any supporting, like, evidence to suggest that would happen in that way, right? You know, like if we saw a scene of like a ball on top of a hill, and kind of like on the edge, and then we cut away, and then we cut back to it, and the ball is at the bottom of the hill. We can presume that the ball rolled down the hill. Like that makes sense. We know how balls and hills work together.
Yes.
But like, what you just said was just a bunch of stuff that might possibly work together if we later learn what the rules are. We don't know what the rules are, therefore we can't make the assumption and connect those two pieces of tissue.
Also, who's the lady?
Who's the lady?
The little, like, Navi hologram lady.
I think she's just like an AI. I think she's just like an AI program. I think Spider-Man 29 is like it's canon that he like he made like an AI that's like his assistant.
Oh, okay.
I think that's part of his universe. Like
he's supposed to be like myself as a fake fan.
Like he's supposed to be like a super genius, like way like smarter than most Spider-Men kind of thing.
Yeah. You can tell because he solves all his problems with punching instead of anything else.
Well, I mean, he also developed the entire Spider Society. You know, presumably he designed the dimensional gloves. And
Goodbye.
Die. Dider-Man. Dider-Man.
No, that's what Miles of Spider-Man is called. I was gonna say more.
So like,
words.
So it happened in his universe. We don't know why it happened, but it did. And we have to assume until we're told otherwise that it's because he was somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. Until we're told otherwise, that's what we have to assume. And that's the only thing that we can go off of. But we also know that people can travel to other universes with the gauntlets for at least short periods of time, if not indefinitely.
Miles, look at the Miles.
And
post for the fans.
And we know that deviating from canon events does not always delete the universe, and it also doesn't always do it in a consistent way, because like, you know, if we assume that the googliness happening in Mumbai, if we assume that was caused by the spot, then we don't have to worry about it. But if we assume that it wasn't caused by the spot, and that was supposed to be the same thing that was happening in Miguel's universe, I don't see why it would be so different from what happened to him.
Oh, also, isn't it said that basically the universe, the Spider Society, is like nested in? Didn't they say at some point that that's what's left of Miguel's universe? Because like, it looks fine.
They have a space elevator. That's pretty cool.
They have a space elevator. They have trains, which implies there's people somewhere.
I don't
that need to go places outside.
I'm not sure. Did they clarify what happened? What that universe is? Like where they're actually like based out of? Because Miguel, like, wait, no, okay, actually, okay, I think we made a mistake here. No, that is Miguel's home universe. That's where he's from. What's different is the universe he traveled to is one that got deleted. Like his alternate universe got destroyed, including all the people he wanted to live with. But that does solidify something. What that does prove is that you can have, you know, people from another universe existing in your universe with a gauntlet indefinitely. Because there are constantly thousands of Spider-Men living in that universe from other universes all the time. And as long as they've got their watch, they're fine. They haven't deleted the universe yet. So that's the thing. So I guess he didn't have the glove when he went to the other universe, and that's what caused the destruction of that universe.
But wouldn't that just cause the destruction of him? Also,
right, if he didn't have the glove and he went to that universe, why didn't he die?
Yeah. Also, but this also proves that, unless we are getting things mixed up, that also proves that universes can exist without their spider for presumably a while. And also the fact that, like, Gwen Stacy's universe is fine, if a little shitty.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think having a Spider-Man not in the existing universe will get destroyed. It's just a matter of, like, if certain things don't happen. But also, it's like, if Spider-Man spend a lot of time in other universes, like, what happens to their universe if they're not in their universe at a time when they're supposed to be a canon event? Like, do they have, like, an agenda?
What if Miles isn't there to be able to mourn his father when his father dies horribly?
And also, like, time progresses linearly across all universes. Yes. Like, all universes seem to experience the same amount of time, like, progression. But
Thank
they
you,
also have
Mayday.
like totally different like
Yay.
time scales or other universes. Like Miguel's universe is set in like
2099.
yeah 2099, the future. But it's also like we have Spider-Man Noir's universe, which is set
It's 1930.
in the 30s.
And then plus we also have like Peter B and Dead Spider-Man who have a time displacement of like 12 years.
Yeah, so it's like why are all these universes that are set in different like relative time periods experience the same amount of time?
Mm-hmm.
Like did these universes just like start at different times? Is that what the implication is? That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that works. There's a lot of weird world building stuff in these movies.
Well, that's why we're here.
It doesn't make a lot
Also,
of sense.
hey, so the PS4 game exists canonically, right?
Yep.
So, we're not fussed about this Miles Morales? We're not fussed about this Miles Morales who's existing with another Spider-Man who's also existing, even when the implicit canon seems to be one spider per universe? And also both of them are a lot... Game? Come on, man.
Well, it's weird, right? Because like the PlayStation 4 game exists, so they have a game about the character that they don't know who he is, but the video game character is also a Spider-Man in his own universe, because we see him.
Which means he exists with another Spider-Man.
Not necessarily. I mean, it would be two different universes. It would be the video game universe and the Miles Morales universe. They're very similar. But that also means.
But the video game universe has two Spider-Men in it.
Oh wait, you're right. It does have two because it does have a Peter Pan and
a Peter Pan.
A Peter Pan. It does have. It does have.
Bro, I can't believe Disney has its
Peter
own
Parker
Spider-Man.
and it has
Miles Morales.
Wait, is it wrong for a universe to have two Spider-Man in it?
Well, they seem to think that it's weird that two radioactive spiders existed in Miles as one.
Right, because because he got the only reason there was another spider there is because he pulled it from another universe. But if that's the same canon, like if that's the same explanation in the video game universe, then that would mean that there are at minimum two universes in which Miles Morales got bit by an extra dimensional spider.
While there has been another Also, there's the comics!
And the comics are canon, technically.
Because if the Miles Morales comics are canon, then that means it's happened 3 times!
But it's like, I think I don't think the comic books have the same origin story, so like, they might be okay. It's like, I don't know.
No. In the comics, from what I know, it's Miles Morales gets bit by a spider. That Spider-Man dies, and everyone thinks it's Miles who killed him to usurp him. So everybody hates Miles Morales. That's how it goes in the comics.
But like, is that spider from another universe? That's the actually important part.
Well, I don't know. Well, no, it's not the important part because it still means there are 2 spiders.
Well, the only reason why there's a problem with the 2 spiders in one universe is because that implied that one universe didn't get a Spider-Man when it was supposed to.
Yeah, but this one has 2. And this one is fine.
But does this Miles Morales have the same origin story? Like, did he get an extra dimensional spider or not? Or was it just a second in-universe spider?
There are no second in-universe spiders. That seems to be the dramatic point they're trying to make. Is everybody?
Well, I don't know what the character origin is for this.
Duck it. That doesn't matter. The thing that matters is that this Miles Morales was bitten by a radioactive spider.
Yeah.
A second one.
Yeah.
But the canon of Spider-Verse seems to imply that it's one a pop.
But
that's why it's a big deal that one spider getting yeeted from one dimension is a problem for that one dimension. There's no more.
I guess the only thing we can go up is like it's one of those things that like we would have to interrogate the director or interrogate Lord Miller and be like, listen, are there universes in which there are 2 Spider-Men organically? Is that a thing that happens? Because you are right in the sense that like generally speaking that doesn't seem to be the case, and generally speaking it's supposed to be one Spider-Man a pop. So, like, even if they had a second Spider-Man, it's like, that's weird.
And also, it's got spiders that didn't even get bitten by a radioactive spider. You know who
Spiders that got bit by spider. Yeah.
You know who canonically didn't get bitten by a radioactive spider?
Who?
Miguel O'Hara.
That is true. I don't know.
It's a lab accident, I think. Is
Yeah, I
what
don't know.
I've
Yeah,
heard.
I don't know what the. Yeah, I don't know what the Spider Verse explanation for his powers is, but I know that his comic book origin says that it was self inflicted. He basically got his DNA spliced with a spider from
His
a.
molecules got all
His
rearranged.
molecules got all rearranged. He could walk on walls.
No, he
He,
can't.
well, he can. Well, I guess yeah. No, he has a weird power set. It's like not the same at all. He can't actually climb on walls. That's just a technological thing he did. Um, he can't thwip webs either because that's like technology also. Pretty much the only thing he got was like strength and like agility.
So he's a loser.
Like strength, agility, and like I don't know, something else maybe. Uh, yeah, so he didn't get bit by a radioactive spider either. So what's his deal? I don't even know.
I think Miguel O'Hara is
who
just a
bit
fucking
Penny?
ding dong. Who bit Penny? The radioactive spider, the spider that lives in the robot,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
also apparently bit her dad.
Question mark.
It bit her dad, did not die, and then could re. So apparently spiders can bite multiple times if you don't kill them. Maybe this whole thing could have been avoided if Miles didn't very casually slap that spider off his wrist.
Yeah. Can you imagine you caused a canon anomaly by killing a spider? It's like entire universe got fucked. Your fault.
The butterfly effect is annoying.
So yeah, it's really weird. It's weird, man. I don't know. Cause like there's some things that are like outright like this doesn't make any sense, and then there are things that are just like we just don't have the full information. Like the whole thing about like the multiple spiders per universe, making other Miles Morales is like we're not 100% sure how that works. Like it might make sense, but we don't have the full information. We lack information that we need to judge that accurately, but it is an anomaly.
I can't wait for the fourth Spider-Verse movie, where after Miguel O'Hara gets his redemption arc in the third one, it cuts to like 16 years later, and all of a sudden Mayday's a big problem because she wasn't supposed to exist in her universe. So it's an entire thing where Peter B has to fight for universal custody of his own daughter. And then we actually kill Miguel O'Hara for real. I hate him.
So I guess I have to ask then.
Yeah.
How? I'm. How does Miguel O'Hara not know that you can avoid canon anomalies? Like you would think that at some point in his research, like something would come up, right? Like I guess the idea is that it's supposed to be like so traumatized by his experience with anomalies that like he just never looked into it and just tried to avoid them entirely.
Hey, real question, right?
What's up?
So, in his universe, Miles was not supposed to be Spider-Man. This is confirmed.
This is confirmed. He is not Spider-Man. He's a fake Spider-Man.
So if he's not supposed to be Spider-Man, would Dad Morales not dying cause a canon anomaly? Because from the sounds of it, the dead Spider-Man already went through like his character arc stuff. His Uncle Ben is dead, and presumably his Captain Stacy is dead. Right? So if Miles is not supposed to be Spider-Man, why would Jeff not dying spawn an anomaly? Follow-up question: what's the status of Gwen Stacy in all of this? Because isn't it like a thing that in like most Spider-Man media, Gwen Stacy is also dead?
Yeah, I mean, her dying is kind of a big deal in most Spider-Man, because that would actually be weird, right? Like, because like in most iterations of the story, like Gwen Stacy is his first girlfriend, and she dies tragically, and it's supposed to be like a big like maturity moment for him. Is like, oh, sometimes you can't save everybody. That's like his big lesson. Well, I guess Uncle Ben, but also like that as well.
Yeah.
It's also a major character point for Mary Jane because she's kind of usually starts off as kind of like a kind of immature, like kind of vain type of character who doesn't really take things seriously until her good friend Gwen Stacy dies.
Yeah.
And then she kind of was like, oh wow, life is kind of like precious. I need to like sort my shit out, kind of thing. So that's a major moment for both of them. But it is kind of weird that like they have a universe in which Gwen Stacy is like the main character, and that's canon for that universe. But that's also not like the typical outcome for most universes. And you would think that that would imply that in many universes Gwen Stacy is dead. Maybe not in our universe. Maybe we just have like the one weird universe that doesn't have one. But like that would be weird as Gwen Stacy, right? You go out and you find out that like 70% of the time you die in the other people's universe. You're like, oh fuck, that's kind of bleak.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, I don't want to die. But it is kind of weird. Like I guess Universe 1610 doesn't have a Gwen Stacy.
Or if she does, she's already dead.
Weird. But that would also imply that she's like a lot younger in that universe or older. I'm not sure how it works out.
I would assume she'd still be the same age as her Peter and her MJ, right?
Yeah,
and also be dead.
Yeah. So she'd be an older version of the Gwen Stacy that exists in Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't mention it. I think they kind of just gloss over that because that's like, you would think, based on like how comic book stuff works, it's like that would be considered a canon event.
Yeah. Also, sorry, side note. So like, it's established like Peter B goes through like has went through like literally all of the Spider-Man beats, right?
Yeah.
So like, do you think it's really awkward being around the Gwen Stacy that we know and see? Like, do you think that's really weird for him?
Well, again, that we don't. We're assuming based on how Spider-Man stories work that Gwen Stacy dying is considered one of the many canon events, but it's not referenced as a canon event.
That is weird,
so, like,
right?
So it's like, is like in their particular movie continuity, have they decided that's not one of the canon events? Like is Gwen Stacy even a particularly like common character to exist in Spider-Man universes? It's like she's the only one that we know of.
Yeah.
In the whole franchise, like there's no other mentions of her dying or otherwise in any of the other universes.
Which is weird because Gwen's universe still has a Peter and an MJ.
Yeah.
But presumably not a Miles.
It's like, so I guess Gwen Stacy like but if but if she exists in one universe, then why doesn't she exist in multiple universes when every other major character exists in multiple universes? Like there's always a Peter Parker. There's always like, we assume that there's Mileses. There's at least 3 that we know of. You know, we've got good Miles, bad Miles, and video game Miles.
The good, the bad, and the gamer.
The good, the bad, the gamer. The true neutral. The gamer. Miles.
Gamer is not neutral.
So there's at least 3 Mileses. You would think there'd have to be a minimum of 2 Gwens. But we got 1 instead.
Yeah.
And that's weird.
Which is weird, because you'd also think, like, that's the reason why the whole, like, Wanda situation happens. Because Gwen Stacy is about to introduce herself, but then probably goes, wait!
It's like, what if I'm in this universe? I don't want to... because like, if I am in this universe and I'm already dead, that would be weird. If I'm in this universe and
I'm alive, that's also weird.
Like, you could have 2 Gwens that, like, look similar. That's weird. But, like, one that's... like, if it's the same person and one of them's dead and one of them's not, that's weird. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. Well, this is the problem with multiverses, right? When it comes to multiverses, like, you have to make rules to determine, like, what can happen in your multiverse. Because if you have a multiverse and there are no rules, and everything can happen, then that means everything has happened. And there'd be like trillions of Gwen Stacy's all over the place.
Yeah. Also, how come we don't even see any other like Spider Women Gwen Stacy's?
Like I don't know. There's other Spider Women too, not just Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Like there are other.
Oh, we got Jess.
Yeah. Like I want to say Mary Jane did a Spider Woman sometime.
So cool.
I think she did at some point. I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure that there are other instances where Spider-Man had family that did the Spider-Man thing, which I mean, if Peter B's daughter has, she's also kind of a weird character. Like we don't know if she's supposed to exist or not.
If I'm gonna tell you right fucking now, if in a year Spider-Verse 3 comes out and anything bad happens to Mayday, I'm gonna fucking lose it. I'm gonna lose it. She's just a precious little baby who deserves the world. I did it.
I get the feeling the baby's probably fine. Did you?
Let's find out.
Train. You have a little trolley problem going on here.
If you pull the lever, you will get all the answers to Spider-Verse. However, Phil Lord and Chris Miller will die.
Oh no. It's not worth it. We need more Lord and Miller in the world. We need more of their stories.
How are they supposed to tell us about what happened way back in the 1980s? And by way back in the 1980s, I mean 2001. 2002.
Way back in 2002.
Do you think the reason Spider-Man India is in the movie is this a formal apology for Gandhi?
Ah, fuck, Andrea. There are more Gwen Stacy's. You know why I know that?
Because of Spider-Man India.
Wait. Do I?
His girlfriend. You hit the keyboard.
Well, okay. Okay, we're fine. I don't know what button I pushed.
His girlfriend is Gwen Stacy.
Okay, wait.
So how do you?
Wait, is that her name or is that just?
It's an Indianized version of her name.
Okay, but I have a better connection. I have a stronger connection.
All right, what's that?
Okay, they strongly imply that the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies are part of the multiverse.
Yes.
They also lightly imply that the MCU is, but that's another story. Do you? Oh wait, fuck no. Gwen Stacy's not canon in those movies. Oh, but if those movies are canon, then maybe the Andrew Garfield movies might be canon. And she's definitely in that movie.
If the Sam Raimi movies and the MCU movies are canon, that means No Way Home's canon.
And if No Way Home is canon, then that means that the Andrew Garfield movies are canon because Andrew Garfield is canon to that universe.
Yes.
That multiverse.
Yes.
Which means that Gwen Stacy from the Andrew Garfield movies, who dies, is canon. Which means that there are at least 2 actual Gwen Stacys.
And a third maybe
in the multiverse.
Gwen Stacy.
So why aren't there more Gwen Stacys?
Also, it would be weird if Gwen Stacy wasn't consistent, but MJ was so consistent.
Yeah, like why would Gwen Stacy be like not a non-canon event and a totally optional character for her universe, but MJ is canon and always there?
Yeah.
That would be weird.
Also, why do the MJs look the same? Why
not all the MJs look the same.
All right, you're a bone to pick aside.
One MJ looks pretty different. Okay. Fucking breaks on that. Let us not go around implying that I have an issue with the fact that MJ in the MCU is
It sure sounds like you have a fucking issue with it.
I don't like that she's an entirely different character who has taken on the moniker of MJ. I would prefer that she was her own unique character.
Okay.
That's fine. She can be the MCU's own thing. But Mary Jane Watson, MJ is is a pretty redheaded girl.
You gotta emphasize the pretty.
And well, listen, I have a thing. I have a preference. All right, I have a preference. I have a stake. I have a stake in this claim. I'm not racist. Leave me alone, please.
They always have to say it. But my problem is, so Peter B's MJ is a person who exists and who we see. And then dead Spider-Man's MJ is also a person who exists and who we see. And it's implied that one of them is 12 years older than the other, but they look the same. Like,
sorry,
it's this...
Run that point by me again.
Peter B's MJ.
Yep.
Pretty, blue-eyed, redheaded lady, canonically 38 years old.
Yes.
Dead Spider-Man's MJ.
Yep.
Is pretty, redheaded, blue-eyed woman who is canonically 26 years old.
Yes.
Why do they look the same?
Well, I mean, that goes back to the same point of, like, the Spider-Man looking the same. Like
give
in
her
the case,
like some eye bags at least, man.
Like you would think like with that, like, maybe Spider-Man's excuse is that, you know, his superpowers kind of like alter his physique in such a way that, like, he looks more mature at a younger age, but also remains a certain physical age for longer
thought the
periods of
fucking
time.
GTA Wasted was about to play.
But like, so like you could maybe blame his superpowers on his appearance being like inconsistent and weird, but that doesn't explain why Mary Jane doesn't age for 12 years.
Unless she's just that cool.
I mean, you know, got good genes, makeup.
She'd probably look great in jeans. What?
She
What
really
are we talking about?
she really handled the whole like baby.
Yeah,
weight
she went
thing
through
pretty...
the pregnancy thing nice.
Yeah, she's like fuck. I mean.
Bro, Mary Jane, canonical MILF.
I mean, she literally is, but okay. She definitely does bear Spider-Man's children at some point.
So I see how it is. I say Mary Jane, canonical MILF, and you're like, yeah, duh. I say Peter B, canonical DILF, and it's nothing. Coldest reception I've ever seen in my life.
Andrea, one of us is a lot more bi than the other. I gotta be honest with you.
You saying you don't even like see it in a theoretical sense? My god, he's got the jank leg.
Oh god. It's
glitching.
Max, is that you? Have you possessed Miles Morales? His leg used to do that. Oh man, that's really going wild. Do you think if we just stay here long enough, he'll completely like discombobulate?
Let's just see what he does.
This is a nice visual to have over our podcast. So yeah, Gwen Stacy, not a canon event, just not even a necessary character.
Yeah, because the concept that Gwen Stacy got bit by the radioactive spider, that like isn't even a blink.
But also canon events can't make sense, right? Because the multiverse is huge. There's thousands and thousands of universes. Even if we assume that it's like a finite multiverse where there's only a few thousand versions, there's still thousands of versions. And not every version can possibly have certain key events in them. Like, I gotta be honest, I get the feeling that Penny Parker probably didn't have an MJ or a Gwen Stacy in her life. She might not have even had a Peter Parker in her life.
She is the Peter Parker in her life.
Yeah, well, it's just sort of like, I guess she is, but it's like...
But she didn't have an uncle, she had a dad.
Yeah, but he probably...
And her dad is dead.
But was her dad a police captain that was close to her?
No, he was like a scientist.
So, like, wait, so then that means that the police captain being a canon event doesn't make sense in her universe, does it?
I like to think what happens in those cases. Miguel O'Hara just fucking kidnaps a police captain from the universe, stares that universe Spider-Man dead in the eye, and just fucking blasts him.
It's like, it was canon.
Miguel O'Hara is the guy who goes on fanfic forums and throws a bitch fit when you write someone out of character. Also, something about Miguel O'Hara that I've learned that does make me like him a bit more because it's very funny.
What up?
He was written that way explicitly because of people who, when Spider-Verse came out, looked at Miles Morales and said, he doesn't deserve to be Spider-Man. And then they went, alright, bet. And I think that's very funny.
It's weird. It's weird. It's a weird,
But yeah,
weird
so
world.
conclusion for this podcast. Dear Internet, please stop simping over the violent trapezoid of a man. There are better options.
he is a trapezoid. You're not wrong.
There are better options, like the DILF, or the guy that punches Nazis.
Are you simping for Nicolas Cage right now?
No, I'm just saying it's a better choice.
But never mind. I was gonna say.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say Uncle Aaron, but maybe don't simp for the murderer, the canon murderer. How about the?
No, you know what? You know what? Still a better choice than Miguel O'Hara. Aaron's got like some charisma to him at least.
And he also does not kill kids, specifically his. Well, okay, fuck. No, he would have killed Miles if he wasn't Miles. That's the whole point. Fuck. He definitely kills kids. Damn it.
Dad Morales, canon DILF.
There you go.
Fucking. Also, it's just a case with the men. Do you know how many bombshell women are in the Spider-Verse series?
Oh my god.
Okay, just to recap. We got Spider-Woman, canon MILF.
Yep.
We've got Mary Jane, canon MILF. We've got, honestly, Doc Ock? Not canon MILF, but thinking emoji.
Oh, that's another thing I wanted to bring up, too.
What?
The whole, Liv and, Aunt May thing going on?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's up with that, right? We are 2 movies in, and we know even less than we thought we knew about those 2 characters.
Well, it might have been
because
a joke
they had a throwaway line of how
my friends call me Liv.
You know, and which is the name that Aunt May uses to refer to her as.
It's Liv.
So that strongly implies that they have like a personal history, one that goes beyond just.
Well, wasn't there like a
mutual
comic or
relationship.
2 where Doc Ock and Aunt May actually did almost get married? And it might be just like fun jab at that.
I don't know. Is that a thing? I don't know anything about that.
TV tropes told me it was a thing.
Okay. But as far as like this universe is concerned,
Maybe they almost got married in this universe. Diversity win.
All right. I mean, that could happen, I guess.
Also, Spider-Verse Aunt May, kind of a gilf.
I mean, like, you could, I guess, extrapolate some really, like, tangential information, right? Okay, so we got the Liv connection.
Yes.
But there's also another thing.
Huh?
That you probably glossed over.
Huh?
The fact that she is smart enough that she can make web slingers.
Oh, yeah!
So, presumably she has, like, a technology background? Maybe she worked along with...
Oh my god, co-workers to lovers.
Oh my god. Maybe they were just friends. You know, maybe they were just friends.
Man,
I mean, it could be.
I thought you only did that when I talked about 2 guys getting together. I joked about my friends because, or, you know, maybe they could have been friends, is like a pre-programmed response you have somewhere in there. And I think it's really funny.
I just think that, like, not every time 2 characters know each other, they have to fuck. Like, maybe they just were friends. You know? We've got a whole, like, Tumblr generation of people in their early 20s who are just like, everyone fucked everyone, and there's so much sex everywhere. It's all over the place. You can't stop it.
Well,
like,
I'm just
but
saying.
But maybe they were just friends.
I'm just saying.
Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy, so far, just friends.
I'm just saying, I made a joke about AU where Peter B is the one who shot a week earlier, meets himself, and then at some point gets a nice therapy bang, and you're like, well, maybe they were just friends. And it's like, I was just trying to be funny, Duncan. It's called having a sense of humor.
So yeah, okay, maybe they work together. That's my theory. My theory is that they were either like college, like maybe like roommates in college, or maybe they worked together at tech place Alchemex for a bit, and that's how she got her technology. Like
that's how Dead Peter got the override key.
Maybe.
She's taking a morning leave, and then she decided because her place of work blew up that she was just gonna leave and go to Florida. Which, on one hand, I get why they wrote her out, because there's enough character struggle already, but, like, come on, man!
What have you done? What have you done?
What have you done to my gilf?
So, yeah, that's kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't talked about Spider-Man Indy enough in this podcast.
Yeah, well, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse didn't talk about him enough either, so maybe it's thematic. that we just kind of leave them.
You don't understand the utter dismay when it was like it hard cut from Mabon to like the elevator scene down into the fucking like spider nest, and I looked on that elevator and there was no Spider-Man India, and I was like, no,
You can't do this.
you can't do this to me. You can't bring me this absolutely charming little bundle of fun and go, by the way, he's not going to be in the movie for the rest of the movie.
Don't worry, Andrea. He'll play a. I was gonna say a bigger part. He'll play a part in the next part. He'll be in the next movie.
What I ask you for a coffee with room for cream?
Johnny means tea.
Apparently, at some point,
Spot's like, oh, I love chai tea. He's like, ah.
don't eat, pray, love me, bro. Apparently, at some point while they were writing, they wrote down like Spider-Man India's dialogue, and then they stopped, and they needed a minute, and they got his voice actor in, and they were like, "Hey, help us out here, champ. Can you like spice this up, make it more better?" And so apparently he literally just spat out the chai tea bit in the writers' room.
It's like, hey, can you give us some like like India-friendly jokes that aren't like that aren't gonna come off as racist because white dudes wrote it?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's good bit, man. Thanks, pal. Save the script. Anyway, I think we've pretty much got all the things we want to talk about. We talk about how Miguel is a little bit weird and doesn't make sense. Canon events are weird and consistent. And the multiverse is kind of very, very loosely held together. And it has some serious world-building flaws. Movies are great. What's that?
So, if we go with the theory that Mayday is a canon anomaly waiting to happen,
What?
do you think, despite the fact that, again, if she's a canon anomaly waiting to happen, the reason Miguel hasn't done anything to stop it is because he doesn't want to take Peter B's daughter away from her, because it's clearly a genuine source of happiness for him. He doesn't want to go through the same shit of being forced to lose his daughter, like, within a few months. Or am I lending too much to Miguel O'Hara?
I think that it's worth pointing out that is a thing that is odd, and that that is clearly a thing that happened in another universe that wasn't supposed to happen, that meets all the criteria of a canon anomaly, but for whatever reason Miguel O'Hara hasn't acknowledged it, either because he doesn't realize it's a canon event, he realizes it and he doesn't want to do anything about it because of emotional reasons, like you said, or it's not a canon anomaly for some reason.
Or he just doesn't like Peter B and will refuse to do anything about it just to make him fucking explode.
That's possible.
He also doesn't seem to like him very much.
That's also the bad faith interpretation. Although I guess he technically likes her more than Gwen Stacy because he didn't kick him out.
Anyway, Spider-Verse 3, except Mayday, will just be Jack from The Incredibles. Thank you. Have a good night.
Great. We may... I don't know. Do you think we'll have anything like this to do like after the second one comes out, or do you think this will be a one-off?
I don't know if we have more to talk about when the next one comes out.
Okay. We should do things like this for movies sometime. This is kind of fun.
Listen, all I'm telling you is I could sit here and talk about potential thoughts I have about Mayday for like another 3 hours, so we should probably stop while we're ahead.
Indeed.
I have so many thoughts about this baby.
All right. Well, we'll give Miles his leg a rest. He probably needs it.
Purgatory.
And we'll stop it here for now. I hope you enjoyed this extremely non-linear, very disorganized rant about the multiverse world building. And I hope you get some entertainment value out of it, because we did. And yeah.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you think Peter B's a total dilf.
Or if you think MJ is a ML.
And follow us on Twitch if you think it's both.
Indeed. All right. Bye-bye.